Hello all, it's Jmix here, and if you would like to check out the new merch store, it is up and running. The link is going to be in the description down below. Check it out and tell me what you think down in the comment section.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
Let's see here. Stop the crocs, show the docs. Agreed 100%. You heard Kadafi snapped on Big Frank for not having his gun on him. True or false? Yes, that's, you know what, J Real, good. You know what? That's a nugget right there. That is true. That Kadafi, like a lot of people that were there, and I think Michael Moore actually even talked about it in the meeting after at Death Row Records after the shootings happened, that Michael Moore had to speak up about the fact that the guards weren't allowed to carry weapons because the artists were grilling security about the tactics they were using. And Frank had told me that Kadafi was one of the most outspoken because he did not understand why Frank didn't have his gun with him. You got to remember, I mean, the Outlaws have been rolling with Frank all day. Frank was carrying a concealed gun. They may not know the difference between Frank with a baggy shirt with no concealed gun and Frank with a baggy shirt and a concealed weapon. So they may have just automatically thought he had it on him, and then when he found out he didn't, he was upset. So
Did you
that's
hear
true.
that story from Frank?
I heard that directly from Frank Alexander. Yep. Yeah, he didn't snap on him, but I know that Kadafi was very angry about it. And, you know, to be honest with you, I mean, that's a fair statement to make because Frank was angry about it. Frank was angry that he didn't have his gun. Everybody was pissed that Frank didn't have a gun, but for different reasons. Even Frank was pissed he didn't have his gun. Okay? See here.
Yeah, and the Outlaws, there was no way that the Outlaws would have known about the meeting at George Calisa's office where they were told not to carry guns. I mean, it's very improbable that they would actually know that. Because what kind of sense of security would you give your artists if you just tell them, hey, by the way, not carrying any gun right now?
Yep. So, Marcus Williams asks, welcome to the show, Marcus. Asks, the fact that Frank and Michael Moore were on the assassination DVD and they're dead, Buntry gave chase to the shooter and he gets killed, Russ Poole dead, all seem suspect. Yeah. I mean, I want to treat this as fairly as I can because it's you know, at first I thought you were going to head to the whole anybody associated with the assassination DVD is going to be dead. Well, that's what Reggie said anyway.
Well, we're all going to be dead eventually.
RJ, yeah, that's true, huh? Yeah, eventually. I guess that's true, isn't it? But no, Reggie said RJ Bond's going to be the next. You know, that was things. So I thought that's where you headed with the question, but. With Buntry giving chase to the shooter. First off, we don't know that Buntry gave chase to the shooter. I mean, you know, that's another one of those unconfirmed statements that we're not really sure where that came from. Frank never saw it. The Outlaws never saw it. You know, we're not really sure who reported that Buntry himself gave chase to the shooter. I don't remember. Did you, Jesse, do you remember Buntry ever saying that he did?
No, I've only heard that as rumor and speculation. I've never
Hood
saw that
rumor. Okay.
Bullshit.
All right. Hood rumor. Now, does it necessarily mean that it is bullshit? I don't know, but I've never heard that. Frank didn't say it. Of course, Frank wasn't there. The Outlaws weren't there. They didn't see it. They didn't know. So, you know, who said it? So, you know, the fact that Buntry's dead, I mean, you got to realize some of these guys are just dead because, you know, and I hate to go on Katie's side on this one, but some of these guys are just dead because they're gangbangers and they died. I mean, they were in a high-risk business and high-risk atmosphere where people got dead, period. That's your life expectancy under those conditions is short. Anybody that is in the hood or in gangs will tell you that that's just a occupational hazard, if you want to call it that. So, you know, the fact that Heron or Buntry, you know, that they're dead, I mean, yeah, you could say it's because of the Tupac thing or because they knew something about it. They were connected with Suge Knight, and that's certainly, I think that's a legitimate conclusion that you can draw. or at least a theory that you can have. But at the end of the day, I mean, they were killed because they were in gangs. Now, okay, so the question, Yeezy said, wasn't Buntry murdered riding with Reggie Sr.? Okay, here's the story that Frank Alexander told me. Frank wasn't there clearly, so it was just another story, and I'm not sure if it's, you know, again, I don't know who Frank heard it from, but from what I'm to understand, Reggie Sr. was in a truck registered to Reggie Jr. With Right Way through Death Row Records, and they were in a truck that was Reggie Jr.'s truck. They were riding around there. Sr. was in the car with Buntry. They had stopped to get some gas. Reggie Sr. went in, allegedly, to go pay for the gas at the gas station, and that some dude on a bicycle rode up. Which, by the way, I mean, when you talk about escape vehicles, you know, you think of a bicycle. He rode up and blasted Buntry several times and then pedaled away on his bicycle. So, you know, it's kind of like when you think of fast break getaway cars, I'm thinking of some guy unloading, you know, 8 rounds into a dude and then pedaling on a little kid's bike to get out of there. You know, but then somebody pointed out to me when I heard that story, and I relayed it to somebody else not too long ago, they brought up a very salient point that a bicycle is actually a better getaway car than a getaway car, because there's a lot of places a bicycle can go. You can go on a bike, but you can't go in a car. And you can get through some pretty narrow alleyways and some narrow sections between houses that a car can't get through. So if you're trying to evade anybody trying to give you chase, maybe a bicycle might be a better plan, especially in a tightly compacted urban neighborhood. So now Frank said that he saw the news footage. There was actually a news story done of the shooting, and he said that he watched it and that Reggie Wright Sr. looked like a deer in the headlights because he was still trying to process what had happened when he went in to pay gas. But there's other people, according to Frank, there's other people that think that was actually an intended hit, not for Buntry, but that was an intended hit for Reggie. That the guy on the bike just ran up to the car, pedaled his way up to the car, started shooting in the car, not wondering who was in the car, who wasn't, just walked up, started shooting up the car, and didn't realize that somebody was inside paying for gas, number one, but also didn't realize that that truck was Reggie Jr.'s truck. I don't think they were gunning for Reggie Sr. and Reggie Jr.'s truck, or gunning for Buntry and Reggie's truck. That may have been a hit intended for Reggie, according to Frank. So
think about how random that is. Think about just pulling into the gas station, just on the fly to get gas, and someone runs up and shoots up the truck and pedals away.
I'd heard that was
smacks of advanced planning.
Well, I had heard that was the original plan in Vegas, that there were 6 barricades set up, and they had 6 different guys on bicycles, and they all had guns, and that as the car passed by, Suge's car passed by, they're going to pedal their bicycles really quick, and when they got there, they were going to open fire. That's what I'd heard originally. Oh.
Incoming 3 conspiracy videos about the bicycle checkpoint.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. That coming soon on the minor YouTube channels. Yeah, we'll hear that. Yes, it was one of them. You know, them little tiny clown tricycles that they ride on. And he was pedaling away on one of those. Anyway, that's what I was told. Okay, all right. So, excuse me. Not random, I agree. Let's see. Let's see. The hood always talks too many cover-ups. Upper room entertainment. Okay, I had to try to get the upper room ent. I didn't figure what that is. Welcome to the show. The hood always talks. Well, you know what? I don't disagree with that statement, but I think that when you say talks to who? Because there's a lot of people in the hood that will talk to each other about something, but they don't talk publicly about it. There's a lot of secrets that the hood has that they don't talk, but they may talk amongst themselves. You know, and so I'd be very leery and very cautious about anything that was said publicly outside of the whispers that go on in the hood. Because, yes, the hood does talk, but it's who they talk to that makes the difference. Wouldn't you say that, Jess? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
RJ has been put out there that Kadafi saw could identify the shooter. If so, did he tell Big Frank who did the shooting? Okay, so let's clear it up. Kadafi didn't say he could identify the shooter. Kadafi said he could identify the driver of the vehicle. He said that to the police. He told pretty much everybody that he could identify the driver. If there was later conversation that he may have told somebody he could identify the shooter, I haven't heard that. I'm going off of what we have the documents for, and that was his statement to the Vegas police that he could identify the driver. And he did a very good job of explaining the driver. And it just so happens that the driver that he explained happens to match a very close resemblance to a picture of Danny Patton. So just amazing, isn't that? That we just pulled 3 names randomly out of a hat. Lil Half Dead, who has the pictures of Tupac laying dead on a console, and Danny Patton, who matches the description of Kadafi about the driver of the shooter's vehicle. And that came from a paranoid schizophrenic that we just found one day who was in jail, who had nothing else to do than get a reporter to give us a letter from 1998.
That must have been put in a time capsule where we traveled back in time to drop that evidence there to give it to everybody else.
Right. Am I going to Vegas? Because not just in Vegas. Jesse and I were just in Vegas. I've had my share of Vegas. The Vegas doesn't have much to offer me anymore.
The allure, you know, the thing about Vegas is it wears off real quick.
Yep. So you know, I think gonna go here in. But saying one more thing here before I wrap for the evening, guys. Again, you know, the time flies. It's amazing how fast this time goes by. Russ Poole said it, and I'll give him credit for saying it. Russ Poole said that nothing's ever going to come in this investigation until we can pin the shooter, or we can pin the guy who was the lowest on the rung. And that's usually the people that give up the guys that are higher up the rung. It doesn't work the other way. You don't get the top guy and he names all the people below him. It's usually you get the lower fish, you get the smaller fish, and they give up the bigger fish. That's usually how investigations go. And that was why Russ and I went to the LAPD with the confession letter, because we were hoping that maybe they could put some pressure on Half Dead or the Pattons to try to say something about it. They elected not to, and we know the rest is history. But Russ Poole always said that if you can put pressure on those guys and get those guys to talk, maybe that they will give up somebody else. And, of course, that was why people like Greg Kading had to go out and get that confession letter out there to try to warn them that somebody actually had names and was wanting to have the LAPD talk to them. So, you know, it's all happens for a reason. But I want to give Russ Poole a special shout-out tonight, because he definitely he definitely gave where that stuff was all going to come from. You know what? Just real quick, SP 519, SBP 519. What are your thoughts on Jerry Bonds and the Compton Body Shop? I don't think it ever happened. I think it's another one of those things that that's a figment of Tim Brennan's imagination. And again, let him prove it.
And that's the problem with unnamed confidential informants. Those, you know, they have an incentive to lie. They get paid. You know, you tell someone what they want to hear. CIs are not the most reliable. If you watch Gordon Martinez, he says that, look, eyewitnesses and informants are not the most reliable. You don't build a case on them. You know, you have to corroborate the evidence.
Yeah, that's right, no matter how good they are. All right, so real quick, I'm going to run it down there. Tina Jordan, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining. Jay Real, thanks. Yeezy808, JM Kazi, SP519, Marcus Williams, Tucker Nonley. 313 in the house. What's up, Ralph? David Williams, thank you. Jada Cooper, thank you. John A., everybody. Christopher Smith, you guys are awesome. Remember, do us a favor. Just tell one of your friends to tune in next week. Just one. That's all we need. Everybody just gets one friend to tell them to tune in next week. And then the next week, maybe they tell a friend. Then we're going to see a real movement happening here. But in the meantime, Jesse, as always, good to see you, brother. You look great. And we will catch you, everybody, on the flip side next time this week. And we're out. Night, Fives.
Thank you, RJ. We'll see everybody on the next one.